y'all think it's just about.
I want you to stand up tall and proud. I want you to speak up clear and loud. Round, babe.
I go nuts, I'm talking a straight sicko. Don't trust not one of these hoes, cause all these bitches is fickle. Give a fuck about death of that nigga holding a sickle. I go harder than Rick when he turned himself to a pickle. Know that every decision you make is gonna cause a ripple. Why you capping with a glass jaw? You know that shit brittle. I ain't letting nothing slide, no not one jot of tittle. I just keep it plain and simple, me no speaking, no riddles. Valley of the dry bones, need some tissue and sinew. Because my people on that dope, we talk some bits of that kibble. My nigga won't come to New York because he can't bring his pistol. Messing with any of my family, I'ma make you a cripple. I'm the Kobe of this bitch, the way he dribble, I scribble. Want a whole rack of ribs, I'm talking dimes and no nickels. If you got them things pissed, I'm trying to nibble some nipples. And we ain't got no love for heathens, all these nations is spittle. Whoa, whoa. 29 in my prime, haters can't stop my shine. Nigga, don't waste my time. You got a problem, then cross that line. Point them out and I'll embarrass them. Realest nigga in it, no comparison. And they got the nerve to tell me that I'm arrogant. But what the fuck a young Hispanic made it in America? And I'm addicted in every city to itty bitties, said itty bitties with round booties and fat kitties. So girl, know I get around like gypsies, brought in different area codes from here to Poughkeepsie. And I like my music gritty, I blend that on 50. They family if they with me, most these niggas is shifty. Used to be my dog, you was in my left titty. Found out you a bitch and can't even ride with me. They can't stand the rain like Missy. If you can't handle pain, you squishy. How you switch sides for a team that's that shitty? My soldiers ready for war, you sissies dancing like Diddy. You gotta soldier up, boy, you can't be bitchy. Cause I know one thing, it's for certain crackers showing no pity. Police killing niggas, trigger fingers is itchy. And after they murder your ass, they gonna harvest your kidneys. 29 in my prime, haters can't stop my shine. Nigga, don't waste my time. You got a problem, then cross that line. Point them out and I'll embarrass them. Realest nigga in it, no comparison. And they got the nerve to tell me that I'm arrogant. But what the fuck, I'm young, black, surviving in America. Then in the middle, little did we know that we rid of some middlemen who didn't do
So y'all think it's just about us and his, but this is about an oppressive, fucked up system designed to keep niggas down and shit. Y'all wouldn't know nothing about that. What about you, little nigga? You know about that?
Yes.
Oh, you know about that? Tell me what you know about that. Tell me what you think about that.
Turn up when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, you gon' find me in the field. House niggas looking at a nigga like chill. I go hard when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, find me in the field. I don't give a fuck how a house nigga feel. Belly of the beast, we been living in hell. They like, damn, Kai, how could you tell? Put us in the project, set us up to fail. Round here, bullets be flying like hell. Too many of my niggas either dead or in jail. Make a nigga work when you locked in a cell. Can't find work when you out on bail, but your homie got the work, so we passed you a scale. Got them birds like the Bible got quail. Niggas selling out cause they mama got bills. Turned into coons like Oprah and Gail. How you sell your soul just to get a little kale? They put you in a dress when you get a record deal. Wanna see a nigga getting high on pills? You can dance on a pole, you can sell that tail, but they never tell a nigga that he can go to Yale. We all created equal, that's white males. All lives matter, not black males. Another mother crying, another coffin got a nail. How many brothers out here got killed? How many of our sisters out here gotta heal? How many more caps gotta get peeled? We beef with each other so quick to pull the steel. George Zimmerman still alive and well. I turn up when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, you can find me in the field. House niggas looking at a nigga like chill. I go hard when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, find me in the field. I don't give a fuck how a house nigga feel. I turn up when it's real in the field. Feel. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Feel. Light-skinned nigga, you can find me in the field. Feel. House niggas looking at a nigga like chill. Chill. Yo, chill.
Industrial complex is a system situated at the intersection of government and private interests. It uses prisons as a solution to social, political, and economic problems. It includes human rights violations, the death penalty, slave labor, policing, courts, the media, political prisoners, and the elimination of dissent.
They just want us to die in silence. They just want us to die in silence. They just want us to die in silence. I might start me a fucking riot. Slave rebellion, no compliance. They just want us to die in silence. They murder minds like they got a license. I pray for the coronavirus to kill all of these violent tyrants. They prey on us like they poaching lions. World War III's on the horizon. Black and Hispanics form alliance. From the west coast to the islands, this pressure is making diamonds. They've awakened sleeping giants. I turn up when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, you can find me in the field. House niggas looking at a nigga like chill. I go hard when it's real in the field. This for my niggas that kneel on the field. Light-skinned nigga, find me in the field. I don't give a fuck how a house nigga feel. I turn up when it's real in the field. Feel. I don't give a fuck how a house nigga feel. But feel.
Nigga, did you just say what I was trying to say, but smarter? I like this little nigga.
99 cents.
Yeah, you go. We good. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Baking soda's only 99 cents.
Yo. There's pressure that comes with the block. You could end up inside of a box when you get your knob buzzed by a op after getting set up by a thought. Opportunity, it doesn't knock. No, that sound right there be the cops. Yep. And all of that stress that we talking still gets punching the clock. You think I want to sweep your floor from 8 to 4? Fuck, I want to take your orders for when your favorite star got an Audemars that's worth more than mama's car. Type of shit make you want to say fuck the law. When your rent's due and your piss poor, nigga, we don't even own our own corner store. So quarter waters cost a quarter more, huh? Wanna be an entrepreneur? We want sign checks. We want work for ourselves. We want on the nets. You're too much of a threat when you're on your own assets. So the only thing they show us is how to be an outlet. So we won't connect. They say hi like hola. Listen to Hova. Whip up a Rover. Been watching Power. Tommy and Ghost Bruh. So I need some powder. Fish scale and soda.
Shalom, Israel. Shalom, all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. I'm priest and officer of 50 Sharia 1 under commanding General YAHANNA. I'm going to say Shalom, Yahweh B'Hashem Yashai B'Rakatha to all the Akim. And Shalom, Yahweh Shemar Alatham B'Hashem Yashai to all the Akwathium, all the sisters and the brothers. Shalom, shalom. Today is Wednesday's night law class. Did I put that up? Okay. Today is Tuesday's night law class. And tonight we're going to talk about World War III and the coming of Christ. You understand? World War III is prophesied in the Bible. World War III is all over the Bible. You understand? It's talked about in the Old Testament. It's talked about in the New Testament. There is a war that is coming. That was prophesied by the men of the Lord. People that walked in the spirit of the Most High. People who obeyed and listened to what the Most High told them. And these men of the Lord prophesied that World War III would be coming. So tonight we're going to prove that. Today is Wednesday's night law class. Lord, allow I'll be able to teach with the same zeal and authority that the men above me teach. And we will prove today that World War III is absolutely prophesied in the Bible. And what we should be doing. You understand? World War III is coming. A war is coming. And the wise men of understanding since 1969 have been warning the people that we need to prepare for this war. Since 1969, the men of the Lord, under commanding General YAHANNA, and the men before him have been prophesying and have been warning the people that we need to prepare for this war that is coming. You understand? So we got I got a couple articles we'll read, and I got a couple scriptures that we're going to break down. You understand? I posted the sign-in link for all brothers and sisters. Make sure you sign in. If you're a brother or sister trying to join the school, make sure you sign in. Pay your tithes. You understand? Do your 90 days and get those Hebrew benefits. All right, so we're going to start off in the book of Revelation, chapter 11 and 14. All brothers and sisters, if you're tuning in for the first time, we're the I.S.U.P.K. We read out of the 1611 King James Bible. All brothers and sisters, grab yourself a 1611 King James Version. That Bible is the most accurate English translation of the scriptures, of the records that we have. The 1611 King James Bible. You understand? In that Bible, there's books that are missing from some of the Bibles that are printed and released today. You understand? I think it's about 14 books that are missing out of your New King James or your Amplified Bible or your ESV. So make sure you get yourself a 1611 King James Version. Make sure it has the Apocrypha in it. You understand? There's a lot of wisdom in those books. There's a lot of history in those books. And it will just help you understand the things that are going on today. Right? But today's Wednesday's night law class, we're going to break down World War III, what we should be preparing for, how we should be preparing, and the things that are coming. Right? So let's start off in the book of Revelation, chapter 11 and verse 14. So the book of Revelation, chapter 11 and verse 14 says, "The second woe is past." Or should I read out? I'm going to read out. We're going to start at Revelations 11 and 13. Well, it says, "And the same hour was there a great earthquake." Right? A great earthquake, a big shaking in the earth. "And the 10th part of the city fell. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000. And the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to God of the heaven." Right? So there was a large earthquake and men were slain. Verse 14. "The second woe is past." So in this verse right here, Revelation 11 and verse 14, it's talking about three things. It's talking about a second woe, a third woe that's coming. And when it tells you that there's a second woe, it means that there was a first woe. Right? Revelation 11 and 14, it says, "The second woe is past," meaning there was also a first woe that passed. A first woe passed and a second woe passed. "And behold, the third woe cometh quickly." You understand? So Revelation 11 and 14 says, when it says a second woe is coming, meaning that there was a first woe. There's a first woe, a second woe, and there's a third woe that's coming quickly. Right? So there's men that came together, gathered together, studied these scriptures. They broke all these scriptures down, and these wise men of understanding, they came to the realization that what this was talking about was World War I, World War II, and a world war that is coming, right? In the First World War, right, the white man, the so-called white man, who we know in the Bible is Esau or Idumea, this nation of people went around and conquered the whole world. You understand? They conquered the East Indians, they conquered the Africans, they conquered Europe, and they conquered North and South Central America. You understand? He turned and after he conquered all these different countries, these different nations of people, he turned around and made a war with himself. Right? This was World War I. This is that first woe that Revelations 11 and 14 was talking about. Right? And in World War I, this was a war that was supposed to end all wars. Right? The so-called white man thought after he conquered the whole world, he would fight himself to see who's the top so-called white man. You understand? He fought himself so that they could come to a conclusion on who should rule the entire earth. Right? This is what World War I was about. You understand? This war took place around, I think it was around 1914. It lasted, I think, 4 years, maybe 5 years. It was around 1914 to 1919, right? And this was one of the largest wars in history. You understand? And this is the first woe that Revelations 11 and 14 is talking about. And that word woe means destruction. Right? Let's see what the Strong says. This is the Strong Light definition of that word woe in the Greek. It says, alas, a woe, meaning a primary exclamation of grief, a large grief. You understand? Right? This word woe means like death and destruction. A loud, this word woe means death and destruction. Understand? When there's a woe, there's a loud cry throughout the earth. You understand? People are being killed. There's a lot of destruction going on in the earth. Like Revelations 11 and 13 said, a large quake in the earth. Right? Woe means like death and destruction. And in World War I, you had tens of millions of people that died. Right? And in this war, it was Edomites, the so-called white man, versus other Edomites. You understand? If you're in this school, you're a man or a sister in this school, that's good for us, right? Something like that happening, you understand? The saints are rejoicing. The men of the Lord are rejoicing, right? That's a beautiful sight to see because we understand all the wicked things that this nation of people have done, right? And then you have from around 1940 to 1945, or maybe it was 1939, somewhere around there, you have a second woe. You understand? That was a second World War. And the second World War, this war included the vast majority of countries. Right? This war included over 100 million people. There was over 30 countries, right? And during this war, the world was in a state of survival, right? Did I let's see. Got a quick article I'm gonna read just to get to the point. Let me share my screen on this. You had over 100 million people that were included in this war, right? So this is I'll try to read through it quickly because I just want to get to a point. But this article says, let's see if everybody can see it. So this is an article from the National Endowment for the Humanities. You can find it on NEH.gov. And it reads, in April 1943, this is a story of a brother. It says, in April 1943, 20-year-old Corrado Ciarlo from Waterbury, Connecticut, known as Babe to his family and friends, was bogged down on the beaches at Anzio with the 5th Allied Army. The supposedly surprised Allied attack on Italy had been anticipated by the Germans, who kept up a constant barrage of fire as Allied forces fought their way inland. By the time the Anzio campaign ended, 7,000 Americans were dead and another 36,000 were wounded or missing. Babe was one of the lucky ones. He was still alive, but he was also about to embark along with the rest of the 5th Allied Army on a bloody push toward Rome. Trying to speed through this, he says, let me come down a bit. Babe wrote to his family. This is one of the letters he wrote to his family. He says, I am in the best of health, and I hope to hear the same from all of you always. Well, things here are moving pretty smooth, and the only thing I do is eat and sleep. And if I keep it up much longer, I'll be a barrel. Love, Babe. And he wrote this to his family because basically he was trying to hide what was going on. You understand? He didn't want his family to know about all the horrors and stuff that he was seeing. He wanted his family to stay in good spirits. So he wrote them letters to this nature, letting them know that he was okay. Understand? And he said, it says, Babe's family believed him. You see probably on the newsreel or you read about in the paper about different battles, said Babe's brother, Thomas Ciarlo. But you don't actually put Babe in that position. At one point, my mother had my aunt write a letter in Italian that she had sent to Babe. When you get home, she says, we have relatives over there. When you get there, show them these letters and they'll treat you well. And at that time you think, well, yeah, he's going to be in Italy. He's going to be in Rome and he's going to see his relatives. Can you imagine that? You think about it now and it's so unreal. So basically they were trying to keep their morale high. You understand? They were trying to keep their hopes up. They were just writing letters between the family, between son and mother, brother and brother, and they were trying to let each other know everything's good. Let's focus on the good. Let's focus on the positives, right? So it says Babe's letters stopped coming in June 1944. On June 26th, the family received word that Babe, just 8 days shy of his 21st birthday, had been killed in the battle for Cisterna. Babe's mother refused to accept that her son was dead. For months afterwards, she looked at photographs of soldiers in the newspaper and insisted that Babe was among them, alive and fighting. Babe's story is just one of dozens told by World War II veterans and their families in the NEH-supported 7-part documentary, The War, produced by Ken Burns. And this is a film or production that they were doing. I'm going to keep reading. It says, World War II veterans are dying at a rate of 1,000 a day, says Burns. And that's the part I wanted to get to. You understand? Revelations 11 and 14 says the second woe. Imagine a war where people are dying, where 1,000 people are dying a day. You understand? That's death and destruction, right? That's a woe. And that's the point that I wanted to get to, is just to kind of paint a picture of what was going on during this time, right? And so at this time, you had people who are literally, they're in a state of survival. You understand? We're going to jump to 1 Samuel chapter 7 and verse 3. Right? 1 Samuel 7 and 3 says, And Samuel spake unto all the house of Israel, saying, If ye do return unto the Lord with all your hearts, then put away the strange gods and Ashtaroth from among you, and prepare your hearts unto the Lord and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hand of the Philistines. All right, that's 1 Samuel 7 and verse 3. And Samuel was a great military leader amongst the nation of Israel, right? And he was telling his people, if you return to the Most High, you put away your strange gods. Today, what that looks like is you put away Christianity, you put away Islam, you put away feminism, and we prepare our hearts, we prepare our minds, we strategize, get our spirits together. Understand? We prepare ourselves. When you see people dying, getting gunned down by police officers, when you see a police officer put his knee on a brother's neck and murder him in front of a crowd, right? You see things like this. These are acts of war that are happening. These are acts of war towards our people. And when you see this, don't go and cry in a corner, right? Don't listen to Martin Luther King and go hold hands with the people who are killing you, right? This wise man of understanding, Samuel, he told his people, you got to prepare yourselves, right? Salakia, one minute. Let's see. Salakia, just bear with me for 1 second. I'm just going to fix something. Salakia for that. So where I left off, right? This was King Samuel. King Samuel was letting the nation of Israel know that you got to prepare yourself for war, right? You see these things happening in the streets. You see acts of war happening towards your people, right? This isn't a time to go sit in a corner and cry. You understand? This is a time to prepare yourself for war, right? And the men of the Lord, wise men of understanding, who have been in the I.S.U.P.K since 1969, we've been preparing ourselves for war, right? And we're going to continue to build and prepare ourselves for war, make ourselves ready. You understand? We're going to strategize and keep ourselves ready for all attacks that come our way. You understand? This is what I.S.U.P.K has been doing since 1969, right? This is what King Solomon, or Slaki, this is what Samuel was telling his people, right? We got to, like in I.S.U.P.K, we put away Christianity. We put away all the lies of Christianity. We don't follow the doctrine of Christianity. We don't follow religion. We don't follow Islam. You understand? We try to teach our sisters to come out of that feminine spirit, or that feminist movement spirit, right? We tell our sisters and our brothers, stop celebrating Valentine's Day and Christmas and Halloween, right? And this is what the Lord requires of us to put away. You understand? You can't, like, this war is here. There's a war coming. You understand? There's been acts of terrorism happening to our people for hundreds of years. You understand? And Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we've never had a solution for that up until 1969. All right, for the first time in 1969, you hear brothers and sisters, or Salaki, you hear brothers standing up saying the so-called white man, the oppressor, is the devil the Bible speaks of. We got to separate from this man, right? We can't change his character, his nature. We can't make something straight that the Most High has made crooked. We got to separate from this man, separate from this devil. You understand? This oppressor has been committing acts of wars of us for hundreds of years, right? You can't be a brother sitting in your basement reading scripture saying, I believe in the Most High, I follow the Most High, but you're not actually out doing something. You understand? The scriptures say faith without works is dead. You got to be actually doing something. You know, during this time right now, we should be preparing ourselves for the Third World War. You understand? We got to pick a side in who we follow. We got to stand with that side. We got to be doing what the Lord requires of us. And we do that by preparing, or we do that by keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. All right, let's jump to Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 25. All right, Proverbs 30 and 25 says, the ants are a people, not strong. You understand? The ants are not a strong, they're not a strong bug, not a strong insect, not a strong animal, right? They're not a strong people. The ants are not strong. You understand? Verse 30 and 25 says, yet they prepare their meat in the summer. You understand? Ants aren't strong, but they're very smart. Right? They work together and they prepare their meat in the summer. Right? When that winter comes, I mean, a lot of things aren't growing in the winter. So they prepare themselves in the summer so that they can make it through the winter. Right? Ants aren't strong, but they prepare. Wildlife prepares. And this is something that brothers and sisters got to think about, because the men of the Lord have been saying this for a long time. Some brothers, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, y'all got to stop smoking weed. Right? You got to put that marijuana, you got to stop bunning trees, whatever you want to call it, because that marijuana addiction, it's not going to help you prepare. It's not going to help you prepare for war. You understand? It's going to make you docile. Right? There's not a person that can tell me marijuana doesn't make you docile. I did my time of smoking weed. Right? You take the cigarette out, you empty it out. Right? You unravel the sticky part of the paper, fill it up with some trees, put the sticky back on, stick it in the microwave for 15 seconds or something. And after you smoke that, you just sit there. You chill out. Right? You don't have this great energy or fight in you to get up and do something. You understand? You smoke it, you turn the TV on, and you watch Law and Order for 3 hours. Right? Maybe you put on some music, you eat some food, and that's it. You understand? When you smoke weed, it just makes you docile. And not only is smoking weed not going to help you in a time of war, but it's unlawful. It's a sin against the Most High. Right? Something that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians got to understand is that these laws, statutes, and commandments, they prepare us for war. They prepare us for times of war. You understand? The scriptures say, I suffer not a witch to live. Right? Meaning, we shouldn't even be able to get drugs. We shouldn't even be able to smoke weed. Right? That's in our law. Right? And when you read the scriptures, you can read about it in Genesis. The herbs that the Most High created, those are for medicine. It's to heal and to fix things. Right? We got to understand the difference between a drug addiction and using marijuana or different herbs of the earth for medicinal purposes. You understand? Right? Like, we got to understand Satan wants us to be weak. And when you read these scriptures, we understand that the Most High demands that men be strong. Right? These laws, statutes, and commandments, they're here to prepare us for war. You understand? Preparation is what wise men of understanding understand that we're supposed to be doing. Right? Let's jump to Isaiah chapter 14. Isaiah 14 and verse 21. Isaiah 14:21 says, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Right? The Most High's laws are to preserve his people. Right? His laws surrounding his people are for self-preservation. You understand? The laws in the so-called white man's army, he has these laws set up just to win. Right? The scriptures say Esau was a cunning hunter. Right? And that blessing that he cried for, that he wept to Isaac for, Isaac said, and by the sword shalt thou live. You understand? We got to understand that the so-called white man will break every code of conduct in order to win a war. Right? When you even just looking at history will tell you the nature, the character of who he is. Right? He invited the natives to sit down with him and discuss peace. And after they had talks of peace, he turned around and slaughtered the native Indians. Right? And that's the spirit of Esau. Right? And this class today, it's about World War III, right? This war that's coming, the third woe that Revelations 11 and 14 talks about. And what it takes to be prepared for that war, right? You read this again, it says, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. This verse is talking about Esau, right? The so-called white race today. In the Bible, you see him as Esau or Edom, Edomites or Idumea, or the Grecians, Romans, right? We know him as Britannica, right? Some people today know him as the Caucasian race, right? This is who this verse is talking about. You know what I mean? And whatever different name they've taken on over the years, right? This is what we call today the so-called white race. You understand? And in this verse, it says the amount of so-called white people that have to die, it will be enough that there's going to be so much slaughter amongst this race that they won't be able to build a city. You understand? There's not going to be enough of them to fill the face of a city. Right? This nation of people is going to go extinct. Right? Let's jump to Joel chapter 3 and 9. Because we're going to talk about more of what's coming. Right? This stuff was prophesied by wise men of understanding, by priests and prophets of the Lord. Right? Joel chapter 3 and 9 says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Right? Proclaim this among the Gentiles. Get ready for war. This is what the nations have to do. This is what we're going to see happen with the other nations. Right? Verse 10 says, beat your plowshares into swords and your prune hooks into spears. A plowshare is something you cultivate your land with. right? It's a tool you use for agriculture or for farming. You understand? And instead of using this tool to farm with, right, these people are going to turn these tools into swords. This is what's going to happen with these Gentiles. All their resources that they have are going to go towards war, right? And your prune hooks and the spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And so let the weak say, I am strong, meaning these Gentiles, these heathens, they got to prepare their minds. This is what the man is going to do, right? These men are preparing their resources and their mind for war. Right? This is a future prophecy. Let's go to the Apocrypha, to 2nd Maccabees and verse 12. Second Maccabees, verse 12 and verse 4. Chapter 12 and verse 4. And it says, who accepted of it according to the common decree of the city, as being desirous to live in peace, and suspecting nothing. Who accepted of it according to the common decree of the city, as being desirous to live in peace and suspecting of nothing. But when they were gone forth into the deep, they drowned no less than 200 of them. This is talking about the men of Joppa. Right, verse 4 said, the men of Joppa, what we're reading right here is they did a very ungodly thing to the nation of Israel, to the Jews. Right? They lured men and women and children of Israel into boats as a sign of peace. But when the Israelites sailed further into the water, the heathens drowned hundreds of us. Right? If you want some context, just read from verse 1 to verse 3, right? Up to verse 4. Right? This is what the men of Joppa did. And verse 5 says, when Judas heard of this cruelty done unto his countrymen, he commanded those that were with him to make them ready. You understand? When Judas Maccabeus heard this, he told his brothers to prepare for war. Right? He said, get ready for war. Right? Preparing for things is a very biblical thing. Right? Slakia, one moment. Sorry about that. Yeah, preparing for things is a very biblical thing. Right? And these laws, statutes, and commandments, this is what the Lord wants from us. Right? These laws, statutes, and commandments, they prepare us for war. Right? And the Lord wants us to prepare for things that happen in life. Understand? And it just so happens that the Lord wants us to prepare for war, for global war. Understand? Nuclear war. And we're going to break that down in a little bit. Right? If you were to ask a random person on the street today, how do you prepare yourself for nuclear war? Understand? What do you think that person's going to say? How do you prepare for something like this? Right? When we read these scriptures, there's literally a story about every type of situation on earth. Right? The scriptures say there's no new thing under the sun, no new man under the sun, no new spirit under the sun. Right? Things that happened 4,000 years ago are happening today. And so when we read these scriptures, for Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, who are the real children of God, who are the children of Israel, we have record of what to do in situations like this. Right? The same way Samuel prepared the children of Israel is the same way that we prepared ourselves under Judas Maccabeus. And it's the same way that we should prepare ourselves today. Right? We prepare ourselves for war by listening to the prophets of the Lord, listening to wise men of understanding who walk with the Spirit of the Most High. You understand? We've had so-called white cops killing Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians every day. Right? Should we go out and start shooting these cops? Hell no. You know what I mean? La no. La no in the Hebrew. Right? What we gotta do is seek men like Samuel. We gotta seek wise men of understanding, prophets of the Most High, so that we can find a solution as to what's going on in our communities. Right? We got to seek the Most High God and let the Lord judge the matter. And this is why you have to prepare yourself. You understand? This is what the scriptures say to do. Right? You can't be, and this is a side thing, you can't be a disgusting sinner and seek the Most High for judgment. Right? The scriptures say the Most High doesn't hear sinners' prayers. If you turn your ear from the law, the Most High looks at your prayers as an abomination. You understand? You can't be selling drugs to your people, destroying people's lives, and then go cry out to the Most High to seek justice within your family. Understand? That's not how the Most High works. All right, so I'm going to keep reading. Verse 8 says, we're going to jump down to verse 8. It says, but when he heard that Jamnites were minded to do in like manner unto the Jews dwelt among them. Verse 9 says, he came upon the Jamnites also by night and set fire on the haven and the navy, so that the light of the fire was seen at Jerusalem 240. Understand? So Judas Maccabeus did something very smart here. He saw that his enemies were going to join up with each other And before his enemies could join up with each other, he went out and burnt their boats. He burnt their boats down. Right? He set fire to those boats so that those nations couldn't join together against the nation of Israel. And this is a thing that the men in the I.S.U.P.K have been doing. The men of the Lord in the I.S.U.P.K, we've been preparing for war. And the war that we're in, we've been pulling down strongholds. You understand? Shalom, officers of Badia. Yahbashim Rakatha.
Shalom, Aki. How about
The
you,
water for tuning in, sir.
I was just gonna wait till you finish before I started speaking.
No.
What precepts are you in? I'm just getting in right now.
Khan, Salaki, you say something?
Khan, I was just wondering, where are you?
Right now, I'm in 2nd Maccabees, chapter 12 and verse 9. Just finished verse 9.
I got you. Are you gonna read verse 10?
Salaki, can you hear me?
Khan, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, Khan. So we're Khan. Right now, I'm in the book of 2nd Maccabees, chapter 12 and verse 9.
Khan, I got that. Were you gonna go on to verse 10?
Khan, in just a second. Just finishing breaking down verse 9.
Khan.
So the men of the Lord in the I.S.U.P.K, we've been pulling down strongholds. You understand? This is what Judas Maccabeus did. He went out and he burnt those boats so that those nations couldn't join together, build a stronger army, and come against the nation of Israel. Understand? But what the men of the Lord in the I.S.U.P.K, what we understand is that this world war that's coming, this war that we're fighting right now, 2 Corinthians 10 and verse 4 says, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. So instead of us burning down physical boats from our oppressor, we're burning down the lies of religion. We're burning down Christianity. We're burning down feminism. You understand? We're burning down the Christian church that supports our enemies. You understand? That's the same thing that Judas Maccabeus was doing. Right? If you think about it, today, black people in the ghetto, they'll do their best to get a scholarship. You know what I mean? When they go through high school, they'll try to get straight A's, try to get that 4.0 GPA so that they can get a scholarship, not to support their people, but they want to get that scholarship to go to a white man's school.
Right.
So that they can go work for a so-called white man in his company. So that they can leave the ghetto and live in a so-called white man's community. You understand? This is the destruction that's going on with our people. And this is what the men of the Lord and I.S.U.P.K are trying to tear down. Right? Black people will give their money to a pastor who goes out to buy $100 million jet. What we should be doing, instead of supporting our enemies and supporting the war that they're waging against us, we got to be hurting the pockets of these people. Right? Judas Maccabeus went and burnt down those boats so that our enemies couldn't join together and destroy us. We shouldn't be following Martin Luther King, who tells us to join hand in hand with our oppressor. You understand? I got an article, just a quick article I want to bring up about this because this is a time of war, and we shouldn't be supporting our oppressors,
Right.
right? Yeah. Try to read through this quick because I still got a lot to go into. But this is an article. This is an article on the NFL, right? There was a time when we had the Negro Leagues, right? We had our own businesses. This is before Martin Luther King told us to join hand in hand. And we were working together as a nation of people. This is what we should be doing, especially in a time of war, right? Lucky, can you see my screen okay?
Khan, another one, Khan. Salakia. Khan, you're too up. You're too up.
Not sure.
Khan, I can even read it. This article will analyze the racial and gender makeup.
Kind of. Where'd it go? Okay, come. What's sign Chris? So this is something that bothers me because it's for war. You know what I mean? If we would dive into these scriptures and serve the Most High, you know what I mean, we would learn how to fight against our enemies. So this article, this is about the NFL, and it says there's a person, they wrote an article on April 16th, 2016 on the NFL use of virtual reality training to confront racism and sexism. He asked, have things really changed in the NFL since then? This article will analyze the racial and gender makeup of the players, league office, if there has been an increase in diversity in the NFL as a whole. I'm going to try to get to the point, going to go down a bit. It says NFL Executive Vice President Troy Vincent said, since the first diversity and inclusion coaching mobility report in 2013, it has been noted that the NFL has led the sports industry by intentionally hiring a diverse and inclusive workforce, as well as increasing opportunity for minority coaches. Salakia Adawan, please remember what I just read there, because I hope you have as big of a laugh that I did when I kept reading.
Salakia, run that one more time.
And it says, while improvement is evident, Salaki, I'm starting to lag it. Is that it has been noted that the NFL has led the sports industry by intentionally hiring a diverse and inclusive workforce, as well as increasing opportunity for minority coaches. And that was in 2013. I'm sure you already know what's going on in 2021. but let me keep reading. All right, so it says, while improvement is evident, there must be an ongoing effort to break mobility barriers and establish a cultural norm of opportunity for all. The NFL recognizes these challenges and is committed to taking practical steps to ensure concrete results. Let's delve into the 2019 to 2020 season report and compare it to the 2016-2017 season report. Going down a bit, it says the annual study led by Dr. C. Keith Harrison from the University of Central Florida examines whether ethnic minorities face occupational access barriers after one or more stints as a head coach in the NFL. I'm going to jump down a bit. try to get to the point. I looked at the data provided by Dr. Harrison to determine what the percentage are of people of color in certain categories in the NFL are from the 2019 season compared to those of the 2016 season. The results show that between February 4th, 2019 and February 2, 2020, NFL teams filled a total of 31 open positions for head coaches, offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, and general managers. White men were hired for
Salakia,
24%.
you're getting a lot of feedback. I'm not sure
While only
if it's
7
for your mic.
different men of color were hired for the remainder of open positions. All
All right, Officer Shariwan will be back in a moment. That's a very interesting article because you can see what's going on with the NFL. Like the NFL is damn near a black league. Like everything that happens in that league outside of quarterbacking, you might get like 1 or 2 quarterbacks that are black, but they don't really like black quarterbacks, right? They don't think the black man could actually throw the football. Right, it's be very interesting to see what else the rest of that article has to say. Because damn, McDonald's hires a lot of black people too. That doesn't mean they care about black people. They don't care about Hispanics or Native Americans just because they hire their employee staff with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. I guess 1 second, we'll see what's going on. Slovakia. Bear with us 1 moment. We'll be right back.
Salakia having some technical difficulties.
Khan, you're Tawab now. You just had a little feedback. Outside of that, you were Tawab. And little.
Okay, no, Salakia,
little bit of lag.
my internet shut down.
Khan, your pressure's the devil. Salakia, you know what? When you were, there was 2 things I wanted to say. Something that you were talking about earlier, but based off that article you're reading, right? So 70% or 77% of the staff that they're hiring is black head coaches, right? What about the ownership, right? This is why when Colin Kaepernick was started kneeling as his version of a protest, the ownership, they blackballed him out, right? They basically got him out the league, and he's damn near better than majority of the weak quarterbacks that they have right now, right? So McDonald's hires blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to work and flip burgers, but who are the CEOs? There's so many companies that hire Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans to do the everyday things, but who are the people making the actual decisions, right? The NFL, that's the good old boy club, right? They basically, you don't see Black owners in the NFL, right? And then you have brothers like Jay-Z who's gonna turn around and do a deal with them and talk all that Black-ish, but not really speak up for Colin Kaepernick getting his job back. And even when they tried to give him his job back, they tried to do it under some like
So
it just wasn't right. Karnak, you were saying something? Salakia, I don't know if you're speaking. I can't hear you at the moment.
Salakia, sir. And if I may, I know I was lagging a bit. Something to add on to what you're saying, because what you're saying is so true, but this article is saying 77% of these people that were hired were so-called white people, not blacks.
Oh, damn. Salakia. Damn. That's crazy.
Salakia, can you hear me?
Khan, I can hear you. So they were Edomites that they hired and not black men. I guess black men are only good for the defensive line.
Testing.
I can hear you, but you're still lagging, huh?
Oh, Khan, sir. Khan, Salakia. These were all, majority of these people that were hired. Yeah, they were not. Okay, Khan. Salakia, can you hear me?
Khan.
Okay, let me try. Salakia, everybody, you already know the so-called white man is a devil the Bible speaks of.
Right.
I'm going to try to get through this article. So what this article was saying is that 77% of the people were so-called whites that were hired for this position, right? Only 19, and not only were 22% of these men of color, but 19% were fired, resigned, or retired during this time. During this season, you only had about 5% of colored people who were general managers, offensive coordinators, or head coaches.
Yikes.
So Salakia.
That's terrible.
Khan. I'm gonna keep reading through this. I think you guys can hear me. I'm just lagging a bit. But the article says the total number of men of color serving as head coaches, offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, and general managers increased only by one within the NFL. And that's in 2020, going back to 2013. That's how much change the NFL has made since 2013 to 2020. And in addition, only 3 of the 9 head coaches of color who were hired since the start of the 2012 NFL season remain current NFL head coaches as of February 22. 22nd, 2020. Meaning they tried to have some kind of diversity and inclusion of colored people as head coaches, as colored people in a higher up position in the NFL. And when they started this initiative back in 2013, whatever blacks, Hispanics, or Native Indians they did hire, they basically fired all of them.
That
Right?
sounds about right. That sounds about exactly right.
So, God, I'm gonna jump down a bit just for time's sake. Says these percentages can be looked at in a variety of ways, but it seems to show there has not been a significant change from the 2016 season to the 2019 season in terms of diversity of NFL coaching staff. The Rooney Rule was introduced in 2003 with the goal being to increase the number of minorities in head coaching positions and expanded in 2009 to include general manager jobs and equivalent front office positions. So, Salaki, officers of body, are you following this so far?
Khan, I'm definitely following it. Salakia Ak, I don't know if you can hear me properly, but you might want to like wiggle your mic cord. It sounds like it's getting a lot of feedback. It might just be your mic cord, not actually the internet.
Salakia, can you hear me now?
Khan, that sounds much better.
Okay, Salakia, I'll just use my laptop mic. We'll see how that works.
Yeah, you might want to repeat everything you just said for the last like 10 seconds. Salakia.
Khan, sir. So basically, to try to sum this up, since 2013, they launched this initiative to hire more people of color.
Right.
And during those years, I guess we're in up to 2020, that's 7 years. Out of all the people that they actually hired, all the color that they actually hired, they basically fired all of them. Right?
Salakia.
Khan. Go ahead.
There's a saying for that. This saying goes back to like damn near the 60s, man. What is it? Last hired, first fired. Salakia. That sounds exactly about right.
Khan and Salakia. I hope I make this very clear to everybody watching in what I'm about to read, so that you can see how much these people hate us.
Right.
Because, like I said, over the course of these years, they've only had about 3 coaches actually not be fired during this time, right? And these are positions where brothers and sisters are supposed to be in a higher up position of the NFL. And if you check the statistics, we have about, I think in this year, there's around 70% of the players are all so-called African American. You understand?
Right.
And meaning our people are the ones who are making the NFL money.
Right.
Right? So I'm going to jump down to this just for time's sake. This is where I had a good laugh. So now it says, according to the Institute for Diversity and Ethics in Sports, the NFL has 2 owners of color who both have major ownership, interests, and are significantly involved in the operations of an NFL club. Ready for this? One owner is Shad Khan, a Pakistani-born American, businessman and the principal owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and became part of NFL ownership in 2012. Ready? The Buffalo Bills also have an owner with a significant stake, Kim Pegula, who is an Asian American woman and joined NFL ownership in 2014.
Good night. Salakia, your mic is going in again.
Khan, Salakia.
Not exactly sure what it is. I'm just going to chalk it up to the oppressor being the goddamn devil the Bible speaks of. You going in on that NFL, man. They ain't trying to hear it. They're trying to make sure that information doesn't get out. But Salakia, you know what is very interesting? Yes, like you could say like the people of Pakistan have skin color, right? But it seems like every time like we take on a phrase, like some heathen nation tries to jump onto that phrase and say they are now people of color, right? Which is like it's crazy because the NFL has like some of the worst contracts ever, right? And if it's majority Israelites who are playing in this sport, there should be majority Israelite owners, right? But that's not exactly how a $40 million slave works.
Khan.
Salakia, you're lagging again. The
Salakia,
oppressor
can you hear me
is
okay
just the
now?
devil. La. It's still like it sounds like you know when you got headphones in and then the headphones not all the way plugged in. You might want to try to back out and jump back in. Maybe that might work.
Okay.
But I don't know. We're gonna bear through it. We're gonna suffer it and try to get through it.
Khan. Salakia, be right back. Try to work this out.
Right. So we were reading earlier from 2nd Maccabees 12 and verse 9. And he came upon the Jamites also by night and set fire on the haven and the navy, so that the light of the fire was seen at Jerusalem, 240 furlongs off. Right. So that was a pretty big fire, right? Verse 10. And now when they were gone from hence 9 furlongs in their journey towards Thelmius, no fewer than 5,000 men on foot and 500 horsemen of the Arabians set upon him. Right. So these are the Maccabee wars. Whereupon, verse 11, there was a very sore battle, but Judah's side, by the help of God, got the victory. Right. And that is very important right there. Right. We'll read that part again. But Judah's side, by the help of God, got the victory. Right. Officer Shariwan will come back and we'll get more back. We'll get more into that article. But you literally can't do anything without the Lord. And we say that so much. right? To the point of like no victory we've ever fought that we've won was won without the most high power, right? You got to think about what we're going through today, right? There's so many black millionaires, but no matter what we try, nothing succeeds. We don't have anything that when it comes to war tactics that last long, right? You got to think about all the black organizations that came before, right? Before 2021. We have the Black Panthers. We have what outside of the Black Panthers, you have the Civil Rights Movement. You have the Muslims who follow a white man, right, under Farrakhan, and none of that has ever worked, right? It's not going to work until you have the Most High power with you, right? Think about all the towns that we've had. We've had Black Wall Street, Greenwood. We've had Seneca Village. Look at Halifax, Nova Scotia, Africville, right? They tried to do something where they said we're going to have a black town, right? The oppressor dumped all the garbage, all the Nova Scotian garbage in Africville, right? Because those black brothers and sisters, so-called black brothers and sisters, who would be some of them the tribe of Benjamin, right? But majority of them the tribe of Judah, they thought they weren't with the Lord, so it didn't work out. Officer Shah, you back?
Khan, sir, Slacky, can you hear me okay?
Khan, I'm hearing you perfectly.
Okay, Most High in Christ, let's try this again.
Right.
Slacky, that article, that was a good laugh. But
Khan, that NFL reach is long, man. You cutting that up, and they said
God, yeah,
you're cutting us up.
did not want that to get out. You know what I mean? We'll give a quick shout out to the chat, to anybody watching. Shalom, Kawapa, Yasharala, Yahweh Shamar, Bashim Ashaisis, the water for tuning in. Shalom, Nixon, Molas, Yahweh Bashim Ashai Barakatha. Max Beltran, Yahweh Bashim Ashai Barakatha, the water for tuning in. Come check out our classes, stay humble, you know what I mean? Sign into these classes, watch, take notes, see the men of the Lord break down these scriptures. That way you can learn something and, Most High willing, change the condition that you're in.
Right.
So, Salaki, can you read 2 Maccabees 12 and 9 for me, Baba Kasha?
Khan. 2 Maccabees 12 and 9. And he came upon the Jamites also by night, and set fire on the haven and the navy, so that the light of the fire was seen at Jerusalem, 240 furlongs off.
Khan. So Judas Maccabeus, he set fire to these boats. He set fire to these nations that were trying to come together and come up against the children of Israel, right? And this is what the I.S.U.P.K is preparing brothers and sisters to do. We're preparing ourselves for war. We're preparing ourselves to come up against this oppressor, right? And 2 Corinthians 10 and 4 says the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, right? But mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. We're pulling down strongholds. You understand? We're pulling down the ideas that we shouldn't own the NFL. You understand? If the whole nation of Israel was in the I.S.U.P.K today, there would be no oppressor running the NFL today.
Right.
And there would be no oppressor running the NBA today. We would have our own leagues. We would have our own businesses, have our own schools. You understand? And these are the strongholds that the men of the Lord are trying to tear down. Right now, this is a time of war. right? And we got to make preparations so that we can come against our oppressors. Read verse 10, Baba Kasha.
Khan. Verse 10. Now when they were gone from hence 9 furlongs in their journey towards Timotheus, no fewer than 5,000 men on foot, and 500 horsemen of the Arabians set
Khan,
upon him.
Khan. Even the Arabians came to fight us. You understand? There's nothing new under the sun. These Arabians today, they're trying to push Islam on us, right?
Right.
You got people like Farrakhan and Elijah Muhammad trying to push Islam on our people. You understand? Back then, Judas Maccabeus destroyed these other nations trying to join together and come against us. And today, it's no different. We're doing the same thing. You understand? Like, you got brothers in the I.S.U.P.K teaching on the street who are literally taking that rock of Islam. I forget what they call it. The cobblestone. Right? We're putting that cobblestone on the ground and stomping on it. You understand? We're taking that picture of white Jesus, throwing it on the ground and stomping on it. You understand? This is warfare for us. And we're tearing down all the lies of the people that are trying to come against us. You understand? Keep reading.
Verse 11. Whereupon there was a very sore battle, but Judas side by the help of God got the victory, so that the nomads of Arabia, being overcome, besought Judas for peace, promising both to give him cattle and to pleasure him otherwise.
Con, with the Most High on our side, we defeated the Arabians. And it's the same thing we're doing in the I.S.U.P.K today. You understand? Like I said, we threw that rock on the ground. We stomped on it. We stepped on it. We destroyed the lies of that Islamic religion. Right? The Most High tells us how to prepare for battle. You understand? This is how we do what Samuel said to do. He said, throw down those false idols. And we lagging again? Slakia, can you hear me?
You just lagged out for a quick second.
Salakia. There's wise men of understanding. You understand? Men who are above me told me, when you go out on that street to teach, you got to destroy the lies taught to our people.
Right.
You got to go to war against that lie. You got to kill it. You got to bury it in the grave. You understand? The men above me that are in the I.S.U.P.K understand this is warfare. Understand? They understand this is a time that we got to prepare ourselves for the war coming. Right? Let's jump to Revelations chapter 18 and verse 2. I still had
I got it whenever
a
you're
lot
ready.
of verses I wanted to get into. Let's see if we can try to get through it. Khan, go ahead, sir. Revelation chapter 18 and verse 2.
Revelations 18 verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean, hateful bird.
Khan. There's a time coming when this place is going to be destroyed. Babylon is America today. And this place is filled with every type of wickedness and evil you can imagine. Keep reading.
Khan. Verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
Khan. And all nations are joined with this place. Asia, Africa, Europe.
Right.
And all these nations benefit and share in the wealth of this place. Keep reading.
God. Verse 4. And I have heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, that ye not receive, Salakia, that ye receive not of her plagues.
Khan. And we got to come out of this place,
Right.
right? Not physically, but mentally. We got to remove ourselves from the philosophies of this place. You understand? Like, what's the point in leaving America and going to live in Asia when these nations are joined together? You understand? There was an Israelite group who moved out to Israel because they simply didn't understand the scriptures.
Right.
And I think they're being deported back to America this year. You understand?
Right.
You got some kids who don't have a birth certificate in America. They have nowhere to go when they're being deported. Right? There's some brothers and sisters out there who they use these scriptures to destroy people, to destroy lives, because they really don't understand the scriptures. They don't understand what they're talking about.
Right.
You understand? Like, if you're a drug addict over here in America and you move to Asia, you're still a drug addict. Right? Nothing changes. You understand? So what this verse is talking about is you have to come out of the philosophies of this place called Babylon. All right, let's keep reading.
Verse 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities.
God remembers people like Trayvon Martin.
Right.
You understand? The Most High remembers George Floyd. The Most High remembers Breonna Taylor and Philando Castile. You understand? And there's no way in hell the Most High is going to forget his people. You understand? Read that again.
Verse 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities.
Khan, I think it's in the book of Revelations 20, but it speaks about the cup of the wrath of the Most High. You understand? Like, the wrath of God is filling up in a cup. And one day, that cup is going to be poured out on this place.
Right.
You understand? Like, all the slavery, all the murder, all the destruction that's going on and that has happened to his people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, that's going to be poured out on this place called Babylon. Keep reading.
Right. Verse 6. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she has filled, fill to her double.
Now imagine everything that the Most High has remembered about what's been going on to his people.
Right.
This cup is filling up, and the Most High's anger, his wrath, is going to get filled to the brim. And when he's ready to pour it out, he's going to pour out not one cup, but two cups. You understand? He loves his children. He loves Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And when the Most High comes to return all the evil things that these people have been doing to him, he's going to reward this place with double. You understand? Keep reading.
Verse 7. How much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow.
Khan. I knew this one guy who back in the world, this heathen. I knew this one guy when he turned 18 years old. Yeah, I mean, I remember his parents gave him a car, brand new car. I think it was it was a G5 Pontiac. I don't know if they make those anymore. But his parents gave him a brand new car, gave him a brand new laptop, and sent their kid off to school.
Right.
You understand? And when this heathen, this Edomite, went off to school, he spent 2 years getting high, getting drunk. You know what I mean? Just pissing away what his parents gave to him. And I remember at the time thinking, back when I was that age, I remember thinking like, yeah, I wish my parents could give me something. You know what I mean? A lot of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, you know what I mean? We don't get handouts like that. You know what I mean? We got to work our ass off for everything that we have.
Right.
And I remember looking at this heathen, this Edomite, like, man, you know what I mean? Just kind of being jealous or envious of, you know what I mean? I wish somebody could just make my life a little easier. And so this heathen went on to basically waste 2 years of his life in college. And after these 2 years, he ends up getting kicked out of the school, goes back to live at home with his parents, cries out to his mom and daddy, and ends up getting a job with his dad making $70K a year to start.
Yikes.
And Salaki, can you read that verse again? So I can hit that home.
Verse 7. This is Revelations 18, verse 7. For much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously.
And lived what?
Deliciously.
That's living deliciously.
Right.
You know what I mean? When we go out to hand out flyers or we go out to camp, you know what I mean? You'll hear brothers and sisters tell these heathens, just enjoy your kingdom. You know what I mean? Like these people are living deliciously. You know what I mean? They don't have the same stresses and struggles that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians have to go through. You know what I mean? They can mess up 20 years of their lives and then go cry to their parents and be rewarded with a brand new house, brand new car, nice sweet job, and not have a care or stress in the world about life.
Right.
Man, that's living deliciously. Right? Like there's a come on, so go ahead.
Salakia, I was gonna say it's like when you see an oppressor who's living on the street, right? And you look at him and he's begging you for money, and you know that, nigga, you're begging me for money, knowing that if you just shave and take one shower, which you don't want to do, you'll get the job, and they'll act like you have good credit even though you don't have good credit, and you'll become the CEO of any Fortune 500 company in 2 minutes. Right. While Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we gotta work 1,000 hours just to survive 1 week.
So, Slaki, if I could add on, these disgusting devils, these disgusting oppressors, when that kid shot up that church, he went and killed what? He killed like 30, not 30, I think he killed like 13 people. You know what I mean? After spraying that Uzi or whatever firearm he had, he kills a bunch
Right.
of people and he gets taken to Burger King before he gets taken to jail. You know what I mean?
Salakia.
Like, come.
That is what happened to Dylan Roof, whatever that oppressor his name is, right? What happened to him is what blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans need more than anything, right? That's brotherhood. The oppressor shows brotherhood to the vilest of murderers, right?
Right.
They outside of the I.S.U.P.K, the oppressors beating regular blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans on brotherhood daily.
Right.
And that's why we're still being oppressed. Lack of brotherhood, right? Just like when you were bringing out for that NFL, I call the NFL the Negroes Field League, right? Negroes still in the field, right? They still kneeling in the field, right?
Right.
They need to show brotherhood with each other. Every single Negro in that league says we're not playing. That league
Con,
dies. It's just that simple. No one's watching the NFL if they ain't some Judite running up and down that field. Nobody's watching it. And that's what blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans
that's
need
right.
right now. This brotherhood.
Damn right. Damn right. Yeah, I mean, and this is what the wise men of understanding and the I.S.U.P.K are trying to teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. I mean, we got to come together.
Right.
How many times have I heard the generals say, we got to hurt the pockets of the white man? You understand?
Right.
Things like all these things going on with the police. You know what I mean? The only way it's allowed to happen is because they have excellent brotherhood.
Right.
You know? And this is what blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians got to come together and do. Right? Every nation on earth has profited off of racism. You understand? When are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians going to use that for themselves so that we can build as a nation and have something? Right? Salaki, let's keep reading. I got a lot of. I want to get through these verses, and I see we're running short on time. Let's jump
No sweat, huh?
to Salaki. Let's jump to verse 8. Let's keep reading.
Revelations 18, verse 8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her.
Khan, this is all going to happen to the so-called white man. All
Right.
of this, all of these plagues, all this destruction, this is all going to happen to the nation of Edom, right? To the Grecians, to Britannica, to the Caucasian race, right? And it's not going to happen in a literal 24-hour period, right? The scriptures say a day unto the Lord is like 1,000 years, right? Meaning these plagues are coming and they're going to happen over a period of time.
Right.
You understand? Can you read that last part, Baba Kasha? It says, for strong is the Lord.
God. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her.
Come, for strong is the Lord God. The Most High isn't weak. You
Right.
understand? This is one of the lies of Christianity. The Most High doesn't love everybody. He doesn't. The Japanese man, the Egyptian man, and the Grecian man aren't going to hold hands in front of the throne room of the Most High singing Kumbaya in the clouds. Like that, those are lies of Christianity. The Most High is going to repay vengeance on these people for what they've done to his children.
Right.
You understand? Like he's going to slaughter the Edomites, just like he slaughtered the Sodomites. You understand? Just like he slaughtered the Egyptians, just as he flooded the entire earth. You understand? Like the Most High, he's a strong Lord God who judgeth all. You understand? Psalms 47:2 says, the Most High is a terrible God, right? Meaning he's frightening, he's scary. He's a man of war. He's not somebody you want to mess with. He's not somebody you want to play with, right? Let's keep reading. Verse 9.
Verse 9. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning.
Khan, the other kings, the other presidents, or the other men in a high position, these people across the world that have lived deliciously because of Babylon, they are going to be crying when America is destroyed. Understand? Keep reading.
Verse 10. This is Revelations 18, verse 10. Standing afar off for the care of her tournament, saying, Alas, alas, the great city Babylon, the mighty city, for in 1 hour is her judgment is thy judgment come.
Khan, that mighty city is going to be destroyed. You understand? According to we're running out of time a little bit. Let me pull this up. Let me pull this up really quick. Just so people can have an idea of this mighty city, right? Slaki, read that verse from the top.
God. Verse 11.
Verse Slaki, verse 10.
Verse 10. Standing afar off for the care of her tournament, Salakia, for the scare of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come.
Khan, this is that mighty city Babylon. That mighty city Babylon today is known as America. If you take a look at this, what I'm sharing here, it says this database reported that in 2019, the United States spent $732 billion on national defense. This is that mighty city. You understand? When you look at this chart, it's lucky if let's see if everybody can see it. Yeah, I got it up. You take a look at this chart. The United States spent more money on defense than the 10 countries behind it the 10 countries who spent the most right behind it. So you got the United States that spent $732 billion. Behind that is China, who spent like $200 billion. Khan, Salakia, sir, go ahead.
No sweat. They're preparing for Yahawashi and Michael. That's what they're preparing for.
Damn right.
And on another note, that's billions of dollars, right?
God.
There's only 7 billion people in the world. No,
God.
not 7 billion. Is it 7 billion? Khan. There's only 7 billion people in the world. If they wanted to stop crime, right? And they really cared about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they could give every black, Hispanic, and Native American family 100,000 the least. The least they could do 100,000. I was gonna say 1 million, but 100,000 the least.
God, that wouldn't even that wouldn't
Not
even
even a dent.
you know what I mean?
Slovakia.
Can't say. And this is why the scripture says that mighty city. You understand?
Right.
This is just their defense spending. You know what I mean? Like who knows how I'd have to look up how much they spent on, you know what I mean, purchasing weapons for the offense, or how much they've spent on going to war with these other countries. You understand? Like there's no other country or nation in the world that is as great as America today. You understand?
Right.
You got some people saying America's falling and other countries are catching up. That is a damn lie. You understand? Countries are so far behind this place, so far behind America's might. It's going to take a long time before they catch up to this place. Right? And this is why the scriptures say that mighty city. Concert.
Right. One last thing, right? Look at all the money they're spending on defense, right? You know the oppressor is afraid. Look at how we can't even go visit our brothers and sisters in Montreal because the oppressor's so afraid of God, one of God's plagues. He didn't even lift a finger yet. That was just a dropout, one of the vows that the angels have, right? And you already know they have bunkers. They've built magnificent bunkers in hidden places. And just like Jeremiah 23 and 24 says, can any hide himself in secret places, right? That I shall not see him, right? The Lord is gonna tear up those bunkers that they try to hide in.
God. And Salaki, so if I could add on, could you hold that verse and jump to what's that? Jeremiah 7 and 4.
Let me get it right quick.
Jeremiah 7 and 4. If you could read that when you got it. And Shalom, Sarah, daughter of Zion, Yahushua, Thabashim Al-Shai, sis. Water for tuning in.
I got it right here when you're ready. Jeremiah 7 and 4.
Khan, sir.
Jeremiah 7 and 4. Trust ye not in lying words, saying, the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord are these.
Khan. We've been trusting in this Christian church,
right,
and the lying words about how we're gonna get out of this hell for way too long.
Right.
You understand? Like before this place is destroyed, like Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, some of us are gonna die a miserable death. You understand? And it's the fault of these Christian leaders.
Right.
You understand? Like we really have to separate ourselves from all these religions. You understand? We really have to separate ourselves like never before from the Christian church. You understand? Right. We got to look at the history of what these Christian pastors have done for our communities. And, you know what I mean? Like we really have to reevaluate what we've been doing.
Right.
You understand? And not just come out of Christianity, but like I know some brothers and sisters who come out of Christianity and they run to the Muslim church. You know what I mean? They start running to these other things that it's just the same nonsense, same garbage, has no solutions or nothing for our people. You understand? Because we're in desperate need of good leadership.
Right.
You understand? Like, Salaki, let's get one more verse and then I'll jump back to that. Can you grab Ezekiel 33 and verse 3?
Con. And just to add, as we before I get to that verse, you said 33 and verse 3.
Come on, sir.
Right? Look how many Christians are gonna say they're in the truth, right? But are gonna go celebrate Rhea, right? Which is the Greek god of maternal. I think it's the Greek mother goddess, right? That's where we get Mother's Day from. I'm not sure if it's coming up or it's already passed. I don't know. I don't care, right? Because it's not in Leviticus 23. So
Right.
burn that day. But look how many Christians are gonna say, like, I'm in the truth. I'm in the truth. Let's celebrate a Greek god. Then they're
Right.
going to turn around and say, Black Lives Matter, don't kill us. It's all about being black. But they're celebrating the oppressor's gods. Like, it's just, the Christian church is the worst place for blacks, Hispanics, and Native American. It smells like dead bodies in there.
That's right. Damn right. Damn right.
Con, I got that verse whenever you wanted. You wanted verse 3?
Come on, sir. Yeah, I think it's verse 3.
Ezekiel 34, verse 3.
Salaki, chapter 33 and verse 3.
Oh, 33. Con, Salakia. So, Ezekiel 33, verse 3. If when he seeth the sword come upon the land, Salakia. If when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people.
Come. And this is what the men of the Lord and the I.S.U.P.K have been doing. Right? We got to come out of Christianity and we got to listen to the men of the Lord, the prophets, the priests of God, and the I.S.U.P.K. You understand? We've been blowing that trumpet. We've been warning the people of this danger since 1969.
Right.
Right? We've been telling people, warning people, you got to change your lives. You got to come out of the Christian church. Right? These laws, statutes, and commandments that are in this book, right? They're preparing us for warfare. They're giving us the tools that we need to come against these people that are trying to destroy us. Right? Shoot. Let's jump to let's skip a couple verses. Let's jump to Revelation 19 and verse 17. Or Slacky, Revelation 18 and verse 17.
Con. Revelations 18:17. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off.
Con. So after everything that's been going on in Babylon, understand there's going to be a time where all the great things of America come to nothing. Right? There's a war that's coming. You understand? And when this World War III goes off, all the great things of this place called Babylon, right? Just spiritually Egypt and Sodom, all the things in this place are going to come to nothing. Jump down to verse 20, Baba Kasha. Salakia, sir, you're on mute.
Salakia, you wanted me to read verse 18?
Let's jump to verse 20.
Verse 20?
Okay.
Come on. Revelations 18, verse 20. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for God has avenged you on her.
Khan, on this day when Babylon's destroyed, when America's destroyed, every brother and sister in the I.S.U.P.K is going to be smiling. You understand? We're going to be rejoicing at this place being destroyed. Keep reading.
21. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all.
Khan, right? We got blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You follow the Most High in Christ, right? You join this school, you follow Commanding General YAHANNA, and you learn how to prepare yourself for this war that's coming. You can rest assured that judgment is coming to these people, right? You can rest assured that Philando Castile, Dante Wright, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, like all these people are going to be avenged. You understand? Let's jump to Revelations 19 and 7.
Come. Revelations 19:7. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife has made herself ready.
The marriage of the Lamb is us being joined back with our general. Understand? Our leader, our king, Yahushua. Right? The Lord's army is going to be restored under the rightful king. Keep reading.
Come. Verse 8. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the linen, Salakia, for the fine linen is the righteousness of saints.
Like our righteousness is fine linen.
Right.
Then us keeping the laws of God, the laws of the Most High, that's fine linen. Understand? Like don't be like a Christian and take some of these verses literally. Understand? Where they think snakes are actually talking to people and there's some 500-foot giant walking in a garden speaking to a man on earth. You understand? Like we got to learn when to take some of these verses literally, when to take them as a parable or a metaphor. You understand? And like I said, only wise men of understanding are gonna know how to break down these scriptures, right? Like don't think you're gonna go put on a white garment, like some of these fake Christian or so-called Christian groups are doing, and that's gonna be your righteousness in the sight of the Most High, right? Like our righteousness is obeying Him. You understand? Let's jump to verse 19, Babak Shah.
Verse 19. Salakia, you wanted verse 19?
Come on, sir.
Revelations 19, verse 19. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army.
This beast is America. Understand? America is going to gather an army to fight against Christ and Christ's army.
Right.
Understand? Like just like I showed you guys, America spent some $730 billion on defense. Esau is preparing himself for war. You understand? He's preparing himself to fight against Christ's army. And when Christ comes back, all 200 million of those angels are going to come out that sky, spacecrafts, chariots. You understand? There's going to be a war that takes place. Right? Keep reading.
Salakia. Verse 20. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast,
Right.
and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire, burning with brimstone.
Khan. And this is the World War III that I've been talking about. Understand? After Christ comes back and destroys Babylon, everyone is going to realize all the lies of Christianity.
Right.
Understand? They're gonna realize the lies of who Caesar Borgia is. You understand? And they're gonna have their part in that lake of fire.
Right.
Understand? Like this is what's gonna happen to America and everyone who loves America. You understand? Like there's gonna be some intense suffering. You know what I mean? Like bombs are gonna go off, missiles are gonna go off, tanks, explosions. You know what I mean? People are gonna be burned alive. Right? Like this isn't talking about going to a place under earth when you die where you're gonna live with some demons or monsters with pitchforks for the rest of your life. You understand? Like this Bible is real. This Bible is talking about things that go on here on earth. Right? Ecclesiastes say the place of judgment is under the sun. These nations are going to be judged here on earth. And when that judgment comes, when the wrath of the Most High gets poured out on this place called Babylon, like it said, people are going to be burned alive, right? This is World War III that's going to happen. Let's skip that. Let's jump to Revelation chapter 2
This
and verse
app will
26.
change your life. So if you're a student or professional, you type a lot, and occasionally you might make a mistake or two.
Salakia, what was that?
Let's jump to Revelation chapter 2 and verse 26.
Revelation 2, verse 26. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations.
Khan, in the end, when all this takes
This app
place,
called Grammarly Keyboard that's basically
we are going to be given power over the nations. The men of the Lord that don't drop their swords, the
Right.
men of the Lord that endure till the end. You understand? Like we're gonna be saved and rule with our King. We're gonna be saved and we're gonna rule with Christ over the entire world. You understand? This is what preparation gets us. Keep reading.
27. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as a vessel of a potter, Salakia. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father.
Khan. Salaki, Officer Zabadia.
Khan.
What Christian group is going to be ruling people with a rod of iron?
None. I don't know any
Khan.
Christian groups that are gonna rule with a rod of iron. Maybe a rod of daisies and fairy dust and
Khan.
purple.
That's right. Khan said, hey, when the men of the ISUPK get in charge, like people are gonna have hell to pay. You know what I mean? Like you got brothers in the school who are just waiting for the day for Christ to return. You know what I mean? Waiting to pay vengeance back to all those that oppress us and have been
Right.
messing with, repressing or destroying our families. You understand? These are the brothers that are going to be ruling people with a rod of iron. And they're not going to have any problems doing that. You understand? I heard a brother in the school say, you know what I mean, when we get in our rulership, if he ever catches anybody sleeping with another man's wife, he's going to tie a rope around his neck, throw that rope over a tree, put it on national TV for the whole world to see, and do a public execution. That way, the entire world knows no ruler of the nation of Israel will ever tolerate any nonsense like that. You understand? Right. These are the men that Commanding General YAHANNA is raising. You understand? These are the men that are going to be prepared to rule other nations with a rod of iron. We're not going to tolerate people destroying somebody's family. We're not going to tolerate people stealing. We're not going to tolerate people, you know what I mean, destroying families with drugs, right? The Most High says he doesn't suffer a witch to live. You understand? Like, none of these things are going to be tolerated in the kingdom of heaven, right? And every man in this school is prepared to rule the world with a rod of iron. Salaki, were you going to say something, sir?
La.
Okay, come on. Let's jump to Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6. Matthew 24 and 6.
Matthew 24 and 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
God. And this is what's going on right now. You understand? Like, how long was how do you say his name? Kim Jong-un or something like that?
Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un. How long was that president or that king sitting there saying, like, push the button, guys, just push the button. You know what I mean? He was just wishing America would do something so that he could go to war.
Salakia, that's been going on for like almost 40 years, from the father to the son that's now in power.
Khan, sir. Khan. That's been going on for a while. And if you're reading the news and you're paying attention, you know what I mean, you got Amalek over in Israel bombing the Palestinians. You understand? There's been the war in the Middle East for how long?
Right. And
you got Khan, sir, go ahead.
No, Salakia, I cut you off.
Khan, sir, I just, you know what I mean? And just you got countries like Russia who's just sitting there plotting in the background, just waiting to, you know what I mean, just take over. You understand?
You are definitely a priest and prophet, because I was just about to speak about Magog. Magog be
God,
coming up out the dust.
God,
They be like, yo, test us and listen, let me show you what's gonna happen. They're dying to fight America.
God. Come. So you know what I mean? And you're a priest, you're reading these scriptures. I mean, you're a man of the Lord who's walking in the spirit of the Most High. When you read that ink on the paper in Isaiah that talks about Gog and Magog, you know what I mean? That stuff comes to life.
Right.
You understand? You're able to see things that are going on in the world and understand things that other brothers and sisters who can't see or can't see, right? And this is what it's talking about in Matthew 24 and 6. There would be wars and rumors of war,
Right.
right? Like World War III is going to happen. You know what I mean? And the men of the Lord in the I.S.U.P.K, we're not troubled by it, right? Christ told us not to be troubled.
Right.
You're a man of the Lord in the I.S.U.P.K, you're looking forward to the things that are prophesied in the Bible. You understand? You're looking forward to the things that are going to come to pass.
Right.
Because this is our salvation, right? um, let's let me end the class. Let's jump to where should I end? Let's jump to the book of Isaiah, chapter 19 and 1. We'll just read we'll read a couple verses and then we'll end up the class. I know we're over time. We'll go to Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 1.
Con, Isaiah 19, verse 1. And just to add on, like we are definitely looking forward to what the our history book says is coming up, right? Like we are looking forward to Revelations 13 and 10 for when we get to put the heathens back into the slavery they put us
Damn,
through. Right? I got that
damn
19
right.
and 19 and 1 for you whenever you're ready.
Come on, sir.
Isaiah 19 and 1. The burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. In the midst of it.
Con. I'm gonna end with these last couple verses because I want people to really get it in their minds that World War III is prophesied all over the Bible.
Right.
Understand? Like what this is talking about here in verse 1 is this word Egypt means bondage. You understand? The children of Israel were prophesied that they would go into Egypt again with ships. This is a house of bondage. That's what that word means. You understand? And America is known as modern day Egypt. America is known as a place of bondage. You understand? So some of these scriptures, when we're reading it, we got to understand that the same things that happened in Egypt are the same things that are going to happen here in America. And the same things that have been happening and are happening in America. You understand? Keep reading.
And I will set the verse 2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom.
There's going to be nations against nation. City against city will be fighting against each other. You understand? Just like Christ said in Matthew 24 and verse 6. Keep reading.
Verse 3. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, to the wizards.
Come on. You know what I mean? Just like we read about in other verses, like the charmers and the idols here are things like your Christian pastors. You understand? Your Christian pastors are going to be whispering sweet words in your ear, like they're going to be saying things like God loves everybody, right? When we know that's not in the scriptures, right? And people are going to be running to them, running to these Christian pastors to get comfort, right? But when they run to these Christian pastors for comfort, right, they're not going to find any. Just like we read about in Jeremiah 7 and verse 4. You know what I mean? These Christian pastors are lying. You understand? And the reason they're not going to get any comfort from these Christian pastors is just because they're false prophets. You understand? They're what's that verse say there? Woe to the pastors that lead my flock astray. You understand?
Right.
These Christian pastors, they have no light in them. They're false prophets, they're false teachers. You know what I mean? They're not doing a damn thing for our communities. Because if they were, you wouldn't have Christians locked up in prison. You understand? You wouldn't have Christians addicted to drugs. You wouldn't have Christians who are alcoholics. You wouldn't have Christians who are beating their wives. You wouldn't have Christians who are molesting kids. You understand? This is all the fuckery, excuse my language. Salakia.
Right.
This is all the foolery that's going on in the Christian church. You know what I mean? I've tried to get away from watching all the foolery going on in there. The last article I saw, there was what was it? There was a Christian pastor who was having a three-way or something like that on top of the
Good
pulpit.
night.
It's, like this is, if you don't know by now, the Christian church is just the house of Satan. You're sleeping. You're really not paying attention to what's going on around you. You understand? Let's keep reading.
Verse 4. And the wizards will I give over into the hand of the cruel Lord. Salakia. Salakia. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord.
The loving Lord.
A cruel Lord.
The sweet Lord.
A cruel Lord.
The soft Lord.
A cruel Lord.
The effeminate Lord.
A cruel Lord.
You're going to be given to the hand of a cruel Lord. Keep reading.
And a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts.
These Egyptians, these heathens, this World War III comes, they are going to be given over to a cruel Lord. They're going to be given over to a cruel master. You understand? And this cruel Lord, this cruel master, this is Yahawashi, our king.
Right.
He is coming back to rule over the nations with a rod of iron. Every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess that Yahawashi is the king of this world. You understand? This war is coming.
Right.
And when this war gets here, it would be wise for all Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to pick a side. Pick the right side. You understand? Stand with your king. Because when he comes back for war, when he comes back for vengeance, to pour out the anger and the wrath of the Most High Power on these nations, it would be wise for you to be on the right side. You understand? And with that, I'm going to end the class. Salakia for going over time. We had a couple technical difficulties. Take those precepts, note them down. You understand? These precepts will just confirm that World War III is coming. War is here. This is a time of preparation to prepare ourselves. And we do that by serving the Most High in Christ. So with that, I'm going to end the class. We're going to give the security announcements and salute out. We are the I.S.U.P.K. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to show themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 and 21 and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 to 10. Ma'ashra means tenth in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocations, we got the Feast of First Fruits. Feast of First Fruits coming up. You can find that in Leviticus chapter 23. It starts after the Sabbath of unleavened bread, sundown, which is Sunday, May 2nd of 2021. From that date, which just ended, I think that was last Sunday, we are to count 50 days. We are to celebrate the 50th day, which would be Monday, June 21st of 2021. Start before sundown. You can read that in Leviticus 23, verses 10 to 22. And with that, we're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers and a courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, I.M.A.J.M, which means stand. I.M.A.J.M means stand in the Hebrew. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers. I.M.A.J.M Shabbat. I.M.A.J.M Barak. Yahweh Shem Yahshua. To all the brothers, Yad Yom Atah, which means hands down. Going to give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, I.M.A.J.M Shabbat. I.M.A.J.M Barak. Yahweh Shamar Alatha Bashem Yahushai. Yad Yom Atah. Class dismissed.